Hey, welcome back. Today I wanted to film a review video for the visual design course at General Assembly. I just completed this course about a month ago, and when I was looking for reviews of the course to know what to expect, I really couldn't find any online. I think I found one for the visual design course. So I wanted to make this video to help anybody that is going through the same process as I was and trying to decide if it's something that would be right for them. I also thought it would be nice to make this video while the course is still fresh in my mind, to look back on and remember what I learned and my experience with the course. This course was taught online. The visual design course is only offered online where I live. They offer the UI UX design course in person sometimes, but it's also more often taught online, so online was really my only option for this. The course was taught using Zoom conferencing. So when we would meet to have class, we used Zoom, and then we used Google Classroom to submit our homework assignments each week. And then we also used Slack messaging, if you're familiar with that, to chat with our classmates and ask the instructors any questions. We used Sketch to create the actual designs for the class. Sketch is a tool that was created for UI UX designers. It's a lot more intuitive than Adobe tools, in my opinion. People that kind of elected to use Illustrator or Photoshop to create their design instead of Sketch ended up having a really hard time and wound up using Sketch anyway, so I would recommend using the tool that they recommend. They give you a 50% off discount for Sketch, but you have to ask for it. It didn't seem like that was like public knowledge that that was offered, so they do offer that. The final project of the class, we were creating a mobile web landing page. It was only required that you created a mobile view, but I elected to create a desktop view as well because I figured if I was actually doing this in real life, I couldn't just present a mobile web version. I would need to do desktop as well, so I did both, and it seemed like most people ended up doing both. We had two prompts to choose from for made-up companies that needed us to design a landing page for them. At the start of the class, you picked from one of those prompts, and then that was the project you were working on for the entirety of the class. The structure of the class was that we spent 1 or 2 weeks at a time focusing on each phase of the design process. We started with research and user interviews, so interviewing the target market for the product or service that the company that you're designing a landing page for provides. We found out pain points that the users had with similar products or services, what they would like to see in a new one, and what they liked about similar applications or products or services that they use. Then we moved into design discovery, and we created mood boards for the overall mood that we wanted our landing page to emulate and the design direction. We did several iterations of these to get a lot of different ideas out there. We talked a lot about accepting critique in this class, and that was something that I wasn't expecting. It's something that I've, experienced before firsthand when I was studying fashion design in college. And we learned about not only how to accept design critique, but how to give design critique in a way that's beneficial to the person that you're critiquing, so that you're speaking to how their design solves the problem or business problem that they're aiming to do versus just giving criticism based on your own opinion. And how to accept that, because design can be a very personal thing that you put your heart and soul into, and how to, accept those comments well. If you're in a critique that is not going well and is kind of going off the rails, how to bring it in, how to bring everybody back in and really focus on the matter at hand versus, I don't like this color, and how to explain why your design solves the need. Then we learned about typography, and this was my favorite part of the class, learning about type pairings, what looks good together, why a certain type isn't the most readable in a small size, it might be best for a heading, and as I go about my daily life, I'm more able to pick out what fonts are being used and be able to explain why one font might be better than another for a certain case, why you'd want to use two together, and things like that. In that phase of the class, we went on to create our wireframes for our landing page. Wireframes are a mock-up of the basic layout and functionality that your product or website will have. This is just in black and white. We started only using one typeface to keep it really simple and really focus on the layout. That was cool to do because working in software, that's something that we do for clients, is create wireframes, so now I know how to do that. The next phase was to learn about UX, motion, and prototyping. So with this, we showed how if you click one place on the landing page, what does it take you to? What does that workflow look like? And we also learned about affordances, so things that tell users exactly what to do on your page. For example, when you see something underlined, you know that that's a link. If you see a little magnifying glass, you know that that's where you're going to be able to search the page, and how to combine affordances to make it very clear what you're supposed to do. If a client is, or if a customer is left not knowing what to do on your page, maybe you didn't use affordances correctly. Then we began to incorporate color into our design, and part of learning about color was learning about ADA compliance and ensuring that if you use one color font over a different color background, that will be legible by everybody. And people who are colorblind might not be able to literally read your website at all if that color combination doesn't work well for them. It's something that you don't always think about designers having to consider, but you definitely do. I wanted to list some pros and cons for people that maybe think better in that way. Some of the pros for the class, I think for some people, the fact that it was online would be a pro because it allows for a more flexible schedule for how you're taking the class. If you are stuck late at work, you can just take it from your office. You can take it from the comfort of your home versus having to maybe travel downtown to the classroom of perhaps the busy city that you live in. Another pro was that the teacher's assistants were available for office hours outside of the class, and there were 2 teacher's assistants, and it was really cool that something like this offered additional time that you could spend one-on-one with the instructors. Another pro was that through the class you got to know all the tools that real designers out in the wild are using and feel equipped that you could do that too because you have all the tools at your disposal as they have. Another pro of this class is that it makes you actively think about design while you're taking the class every day and think about the concepts. After taking the class, I've realized that I know more than I think I do. One of the cons, for me the fact that it was online was a con. I think I learned a lot better in person. They tried to address that by breaking us into breakout groups within the video conference. Zoom conferencing allows for that functionality, and that could work in a way, but I think only if people are super comfortable speaking on video chat. It was a little bit more strained and awkward and less collaborative. And so I think that, it was a hindrance that it was online. Another con is that because General Assembly is not an accredited university, this course was taught pass-fail, and you could get a certificate of completion from the course if your work, say, was paying for it and they needed proof that you had indeed completed the course. For me, who was paying for it out of pocket, that maybe wasn't a huge motivator, and I don't think I'm super motivated by pass-fail classes. It just seemed pretty arbitrary. If you go to all the classes and turn in most of your homework on time and do the final presentation, you pass essentially. So I would give this course a 4 out of 5 stars as my review. I loved the course when I was taking it. I'm so glad that I chose to invest in myself and learn a new skill. I think that the reason for the 4 out of 5 is that it was online. I knew going into it that that wasn't my preference, so maybe, that's my own fault, but I didn't really get the feeling that I had gotten my money's worth. It was pretty expensive, for me at least. It was $2,800, and I just didn't get that feeling at the end of the course. I think it's a gut thing, but honestly, as I've prepared this video, it made me realize that, like I said, I know more than I think I do, and maybe the course was more beneficial than I originally thought, and I think that made me give it maybe a little bit of a higher rating with that 4 out of 5. I hope that this was helpful to anybody who's considering taking the course. If there's any questions that I didn't answer in this video, feel free to comment below, and I would be so happy to help anybody, make their decision on whether or not to take it. And thank you so much for watching. Be sure to give it a like if you liked it, and subscribe so you can find out when I post other videos. And I hope everybody has a great rest of your